Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
What's good, what's good, what's good? Man, I know it's another tough loss, but we gonna be here talking about it, man. We got a special guest. I think you know him, man. He was here last week. I'm not going to waste any time. I see people pulling up in the chat. I'm going to give y'all some time to pull up. But my guy Severe is back in the building. What is good? What's going on, brother?
What's good, man? Ready to talk about this game. It was an interesting one to say the least, man. Ready to see what the chat has to say about it. Ready to hear your opinions on the game as well.
Oh yeah, man, it's a lot to talk about, man. Like, hey, if y'all didn't watch the live stream with me, I'm watching it with y'all. I'm kind of letting it soak in. But after like a day, I kind of have some time to be like, you know what? To look at the negatives, the positives, and I haven't talked to anybody. You know what I'm saying? So this is gonna be the first time I've talked to anybody since then. And I had some time to think about it. But before we get into it, let's see who's pulled up in the chat. Oh, my guy Raider Resistance in the building, making a rare appearance again. Salute, fellas. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you coming through. If y'all haven't, go ahead and give my guy a follow. I mean, everybody's following him at this point, man. He's right. Blowing up on IG everywhere he goes. He's blowing up, man. So I appreciate you coming through. Perez, JB in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. He says, salute, nation. What's good, man? Appreciate you coming through, man. We have a lot to talk about today, man. And let's kind of get it started a little bit here. I wanna hear your thoughts, man, because I know you got a lot to say. I had to slow you down because you wanted to say some stuff. Like, nah, save it for the live. Save it. I don't want to hear it, bro. I'm save that for the live. Hold on 1 second. Alfredo coming through and showing some love, man. Hey, man, he said salute nation.
Salute, Alfredo.
Hey, appreciate you coming through, man. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my guy, Severe Raider. I'm gonna pull up his socials real quick. You see it to the right of me. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull mine up too, so y'all can see it. Boom, boom. All right. Let's see. Oh, what just happened right here? I thought I just. All right, there we go. There we go.
Right there.
There we go.
Sure.
Now, yeah. So let's start with the day after reaction, the Raiders Chiefs day after reaction. Let's talk about it. It's a game where we started off the game strong, 14-0 run, and from there, you have like. You hit them in the mouth, but at the end of the day, it kind of died off. And literally, when I mean died off, I mean that we went up 14-0, and then the Chiefs went on a 31-3 run against us.
Man.
It is what it is, man. Like, I think at the end of the day, and we'll talk about what we really feel in a minute, but I just thought, in my opinion, I thought that the Raiders, they're not the better team at this point in time, man. Like
No,
you got a
no.
rookie head coach, you got a rookie OC, you got a rookie QB going against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, like and not just a rookie head coach, he's an interim head coach. So this is not really his team. Like he's
Yes.
done a great job to actually galvanize that locker room. Hey, if this was a few weeks ago and McDaniels was going into this game, is Raider Nation even going to show up to watch the game? Like, we knew it was going to be a blowout with McDaniels based off how he was
So
coaching this team.
so that's that's the issue I have, right? I see a lot of people like, oh man, like we kept it close or we got up for it. Like this is a story as old as time. The Raiders get up to a big lead, and
Mm-hmm.
then teams figure us out, and then we collapse in the second half of games. Right? That's what we did last year. This was almost the exact. Well, actually, last year against the Chiefs, we played them closer. Right? This is exactly the same thing we've been doing. We did last year. We're doing it this year. So you know, it's like it's like if you're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, right? Like, oh, this arrangement like might look a little different, might feel a little better, but the ship is still sinking. All right,
Right.
we might feel a little better about the loss because we didn't lose with the guy we didn't like, but at the end of the day, we still took an L. So it's like I think people are too wrapped up in how they feel about the coach rather than talking about what's the actual results on the field. We lost 31-3 after going up 14 points. Like if this was Josh McDaniels, what would people be saying? So it's like I'm just saying, keep
Mm-hmm.
that same energy, right? I'm consistent in what I say. Like it wasn't cool when Josh McDaniels did it. I'm not accepting it now. I'm not giving nobody no passes, bro. You're not getting no merit award, no attendance award. Bro, it's a zero sum game. You win or you lose. I'm not in it for participation trophies. Do we want to take some positives from the game? Okay. We didn't have any penalties. We kind of took care of the ball. We showed we can move the ball early on, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, man, we still lost. We still lost the exact same way we was basically losing under the last coach. So it's like offense didn't show up. We scored less than 20 points again. So it's like, why are we giving so much grace to the new guys? Because we just didn't like the last guy. So that shows me people weren't focused on results on the field. They were focused on how they feel.
Right.
And I'm not about that. I'm about results. And if you're not getting the results, man, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you Josh Daniels, you Tony Dungy, you John Gruden, you John Madden. I don't care
Right.
about none of that, bro. Are you winning or are you not?
Right. Right. Not the thing is too, hey, Antonio Pierce, he still has about 5 games left. Let's give him
Yeah.
a shot. The Raiders are playing harder. They're definitely playing harder than they did under McDaniels. It's a completely different team. Like I'm going into the games now thinking like, oh, is there a chance? With McDaniels, it was always like, ugh. Like you've seen the product on the football field. Like you've seen like it was a complete letdown. I understand what you're saying. They if you notice against the Dolphins, they started off strong. Against the Dolphins, they started off strong. Against the Chiefs, but in the end, in the end, the better team could have won. Could they have stole those games? Yes, because if you looked at it from, in my opinion, I think where the coaching fell flat was the lack of aggression in key moments.
Yeah.
And I felt like with the Raiders offense starting as hot as it did, with the Raiders running the ball, hey, Josh Jacobs, 63-yard touchdown run. You had Aiden O'Connell throwing dimes out there. And obviously getting both the receivers involved, and Adams and Myers. You love to see it. Even Hunter Renfrow sighting. The offense was hitting all cylinders.
Yeah.
And we get to a 4th and 1 inside the 15, inside the 10-yard line, and where's the confidence? Where's the aggression against a team? Like, hey, they're gonna go for it on 4th down. They're gonna go for the kill.
Yeah.
And I just in those types of games, you got to be aggressive. Against the Dolphins, it was the same type of. It's just, you got to be a little bit more aggressive. Like I think against the Dolphins, they had the ball near the end of the half. Instead of they almost kind of settled for a field goal. They ran it 3 straight times.
Yeah.
And then I think we talked about it before where we heard Antonio Pierce talk about it after the game. Well, I just wanted to protect my guy. You know, I just wanted to protect him. But, you know, you probably could tell everybody about that, but what your thoughts was on that. But about Antonio Pierce basically, you know, saying that he wants to protect his player out there. And
I think Antonio Pierce is saying in words what Josh McDaniels was saying in deeds earlier in the year. And basically they don't trust the offense. No, whether it's Jimmy G under center, whether it's Aiden O'Connell under center, whether it's Brian Hoyer under center, they don't have trust that the offense can get the job done.
Right.
When you have if you want to beat the Chiefs, even this year, right, with the Chiefs offense, quote unquote, struggling, I want to say they're still top 10 in offense, if I recall. So with if struggling offense is still top 10, but you're not going to beat the Chiefs, kicking field goals.
Mm-hmm.
You need to score touchdowns.
Right.
And we needed a touchdown right there. And that was the football paid us back because everybody in that stadium knew what should have been done. And we should have went for it on 4th and 1. Even if it was just a QB sneak, go for it on 4th and 1. And we elected to kick a field goal, and the football gods kicked us in the pants, and we missed it. And that's what we deserve because that lack of aggression, it is poor game management, and it's the same thing that plagued our last head coach, and it's the same thing that seems to be plaguing this new head coach as well.
And I didn't get a chance to look up the stats for Carlson, but I just feel like Carlson hasn't been the same accurate you can count on kicker this season. So even though I blame Antonio Pierce for not being aggressive in that moment in the game, if Carlson hit that field goal, we're up 10-0. Obviously we end up scoring another touchdown, we would be up 17-0. But I feel like it sends a better message to the team, to that offense who's playing well, to go for it on 4th down there. 4th and 1. 4th and 1, right there in the end zone, you go for it. You know what I'm saying? But, that's just my opinion on it. I feel like the lack of aggression right there, I think that's – but I do feel like there's still 5 games left. I think he's still – it's a rookie head coach, rookie OC, rookie. It's a lot of things that's happening all at once. I think overall – Pierce has done a solid job so far. I'm not gonna go hate on him like this early. Like I as much as I was excited, the 2 wins, we won 2 straight. I think they need to get back to that. I felt like they were way more aggressive in those 2 wins against better defensive teams. You know what I mean? Now you're going against offensive.
Against the Giants are a bad team overall. The Jets are a good defensive team, but the Chiefs are one of the top defenses in the league as well.
Right.
Yeah, but But even in those 2 games, right? We scored that 30 piece, but we haven't put up more than 20 cents. So it's like we're just following right. We changed the guy that's at the top, but the root cause has not changed, right? We're still being plagued by the same things that plagued us before. The only real highlight of this game is that I don't think we committed a single penalty all game, which is probably the first time we've done that in a long time. In terms of Dan Carlson, ever since he brought his family to the stadium that 1 week, man, he ain't been the same, and he ain't been the
same, bro.
I want to say for kicks under 40, I want to say he either broke the record or he was on pace to break the record for kicks under 40 yards. I want to say that's the first kick he missed that was under 40 yards in a long time. So generally 40 and under, and you can take that to the bank. That's what I'm saying, man. That was the football guys, paying us back. Like, y'all should have went for it right here. Y'all know what y'all need to do, and y'all didn't do it. So,
uncharacteristic miss by Carlson back there. But it is what it is. I just felt like, even though he missed that field goal, he should have made it. Obviously, I'm not going to get on him too hard. But I just felt like it would have been a big message to the team, the momentum. I feel like the coach has to feel the momentum of the game. He has to understand, like, okay, his offense is playing well. You got to be a little aggressive, especially against a team like the Chiefs. Like, even though they start off fast, like, why are you being conservative again? This is a team that is going to turn on a light switch at some moment. And
Yes.
I guess you can say maybe came back to haunt him. But at the end of the day, I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like the Chiefs were a better team. The Chiefs,
Yeah. No.
the yeah, and you hear Amik Robinson saying at the end of the game, we're better than those guys. Nah, bro, you're not better until you win. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, and
Exactly.
I say that I'm saying that as a fan of the team. I'm not trying to hate on them, but look, hey, Mahomes improves to 10-1 against the Raiders. 10-1,
Yes. 10
and the
and 1.
Chiefs averaged 35.5 points per game. They, you know what I'm saying? The only win that they've had against us was, or that we had, that the Raiders had against them was, we remember that game. That was in Kansas City, Arrowhead,
Yeah.
where the Henry Ruggs were getting and Nelson Aguilars were catching deep balls from Derek Carr. That was the John Gruden going around the stadium four times celebrating like he won the Super Bowl. That was the only game that we won. So at the end of the day, I think the better team won. I think there needs to be improvement in this roster, coaching. I'm not out on Pierce. I'm hoping that it works out, but obviously if it doesn't, I'm not we obviously got to go a different direction. But it's still 5 games left. I think best case scenario, if we can bring him back, keep Patrick Graham, add more talent to this team, specifically that defense, maybe to the O-line, obviously, and add to that quarterback room. There's so many places that we can go with it. And another thing, let's get into it, bro. We like that the elephant in the room. Marcus Peters, bro. Marcus Peters was benched midway through the first quarter, and I don't know if it happened right after. I think you know what the play that I'm talking about is when I think it was Sky Moore. I don't know if it was like a little receiver handoff. It was like pretty much the run was coming on his side. He could have made a open field tackle coming at him. I don't know what he tried to do. It looked
Marcus
bad.
Peters out there making
it looked bad. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's seen it.
Man.
Everybody's seen it. The coach seen it. Everybody in the stadium seen it. And we seen what happened in the sideline. The little back and forth with Peters, and it might have been the time where it could have been the moment in time where he found out that he was getting benched.
Yeah,
it is what it is. And now fast forward, Peters is not a Raider no more. I mean, they cut him this morning. They announced it that they cut him this morning by Pierce.
Yeah.
What do you think of the cut? What do you think of Marcus Peters not being with the Raiders?
So, man, just so truth be told, I had a bold prediction when we brought Marcus Peters on. I had a bold prediction that he wouldn't make this team, and I was actually surprised that he made the team because I have a friend that's a Baltimore Ravens fan, and he's from Baltimore, and he was telling me Marcus Peters is done, like it's a wrap, career over. But then I was watching some of Marcus Peters, and it looked like they weren't really using him right. They were trying to have Marcus Peters play a lot of press man, and when he was doing that, he was getting used. But when he was playing off or he was in zone, he was still solid. But it just seems like it's a situation where kind of we needed a veteran presence in that locker room, especially with guys like Ja'Cory Bennett and Trevon Merrick back there, and even Nate Hobbs still a relatively young player. And then Marcus Peters is a name. I think we wanted to add some sizzle on the roster, but it just wasn't a fit, man. Like Marcus Peters was Sunday dinner because every Sunday that man was getting cooked.
Yeah.
Like, every Sunday he was getting cooked, man. So it was like it was bad last week. We heard the rumors that supposedly the team thought about cutting him earlier on in the year. I think part of the reason that they didn't cut him is because I think he had the players in the locker room respect him. And
Right.
I don't think the players in the locker room respected the previous coach. And Marcus Peters had been basically openly critical of the previous coach. So I think if they would have cut him, it would have looked like retaliation for him, speaking out against the coach. And it would have accelerated what was already happening in Josh McDaniels losing the locker room. And it would have just, probably been a mutiny possibly. So I think they elected to keep him on the roster. longer than they should have. And we also had some injuries to the team as well. It's not we didn't have a lot of depth at the position. Jacorian was hurt at different times. Nate Hobbs was banged up. Faison, I don't know what the hell was going on with him. I don't even know if is he still even like what the hell's going on there. So I think it
Yeah.
was kind of a meeting of need, and the situation dictated him staying. Pierce is a different animal, so I think he had the kind of the leeway and the respect to get rid of Peters.
I
But
wanted it to work, man. I wanted it to work. The hometown kid, Oakland Rays. Obviously, he's a Raider fan. You've heard him a few times. Even players kind of mentioned as well. Like he's a Raider fan, just like Marshawn Lynch, who's really close with Peters. Grew up a Raider fan. I'm glad he was able to fulfill his childhood dream to play for the team, but it just didn't work. It just didn't work, man. I think at the end of the day, I felt like I just felt like the tackling from him, being a mismatch when it comes to playing against speed receivers. He wasn't really getting up on receivers like that. If you seen, like, for the most part, he was giving a whole lot of space to you got to change it up every now and then. You can't just be playing off to every play. Like, teams are going to take advantage of that. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you could tell, like, the Chiefs on Sunday, they kind of were they were taking advantage of that. They were running to his side. Whatever type of trick run play, they were going to his side and force him to make a play. And I guess the last straw happened on Sunday, where the Raiders, and it was funny because the report did also say that they were possibly going to look into. I think Vic Tavor reported it, saying that they possibly were going to cut him earlier in the season, and so this is something that's been building up. But man, I wanted it to work. I wish he could have played the entire season. I wish he could have played the entire season and just not cut him in the middle of the season. That sucks. It's funny. I posted this on my channel, and I seen a little bit of mixed reviews. I seen people say, like, man, why are they cutting him, like, in the middle of the season, and some people start bringing up other corners that are struggling as well. Hobbs, he's giving up a lot of plays in the past game. As much as we like his tackling ability back there, a corner is paid to cover, and he's not really doing that. And I've never really been confident in Hobbs' coverage ability. Obviously we love him, that he's a physical player. He'll get up in there and tackle, but his coverage has been questionable. Some people brought him up, and why is he taking the blame when this guy is not covering? But it is what it might be more to it than what we know, because to get cut in the middle of the season, and the Raiders do save about $1.5 million in incentives, because that he was scheduled to get paid if he were to continue on and play for the team. But it just sucks that it ended like in this way, because he wanted to be there. When I say he wanted to be there, I'm just basing it off the fact that he grew up a Raider fan.
Exactly.
Like, obviously, this is like, I'm sure he wanted to play for the team. He wanted to make plays, but some people mentioned that he was hurt. So I don't know. Was he playing with a hurt shoulder?
Man, look, you would want to give Marcus Peters the benefit of the doubt, but Marcus Peters has never been a dude with the tackle. Like, that was never his. So whether he was playing with a hurt shoulder or not, you see a guy. You're supposed to be one of the leaders on the team, and you see the way that Max Crosby is out there putting his body on the line. You're supposed to be one of the leaders on the team. You're wearing an iconic number for your favorite team, the team that you grew up rooting for. You would think that, despite whatever ailments you're going through, you're going to go out there and you're going to lay your body on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't seem that he was willing to do that. So I don't want to speculate on any injury he had. I don't think he popped up on any injury report. So maybe it was a situation where they were not putting it out there, as sometimes they do, which they're not supposed to do. But sometimes it happens in the league where they do it to protect the player, so they know, so teams won't, like, attack that injury. So maybe that was a situation. But injured or not, his legs was fine, and he was still out there getting cooked. So you don't need to. You don't need to.
I gotta get that soundbite, bro. Getting cooked.
Man.
Nah,
So
but nah, it's unfortunate that it ended this way. But there's people who didn't like the cut, and there's people who were kind of like, man, hey, good riddance, man. The guy, he wasn't tackling
man,
anybody. His effort, they felt like he wasn't really trying out there. But there's always two sides to every story. But Marcus Peters, I wish it worked out. But
yeah,
and that's just me. That's just my opinion. I know other people are like, hey, look, I'm glad he's gone. Now we can evaluate the talent on this roster. We can move on because
yeah.
I think at the end of the day, I think we do need to address that cornerback position. Like
Facts,
that is a
facts,
huge need. If you really look
facts.
at this team, that's a huge need. As much as D tackle, because at the end of the day, like this is a passing league, and you don't have any
Yeah,
corners that can cover a number one corner. Come on,
yeah. I mean,
it's
outside of defensive tackle, I would say corner it has to be our number one defensive need, even above linebacker. Linebacker that position has kind of been devalued a little bit. We keep getting cooked by Kelsey, so I think there's a little bit more importance on it for us being in the AFC West with
right.
Kelsey and Dulcich in the division. But
Mm-hmm.
outside of defensive tackle, corner has to be very, very high on our priorities to target, whether that be in free agency or the draft. We hoping we could squeeze a little bit more toothpaste out of the tube with Marcus Peters, but the dude was done.
DeMarcus Webb, I'm gonna hit up the chat real quick. DeMarcus Webb says, and this is from earlier, man. I gotta catch up, but he says if it was JMD, he was agreeing with what you were saying. If it was JMD, it would be the same stuff, bro. It would be same shit. So we got Hefe KC, man. Hey, man, are you here to rub it in, bro? Come on, man. Why?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
man.
okay. He's giving it. Okay, Hefe KC's coming here. He says it was a good game. AOC's a solid player. Okay. And we'll get
I
into
mean, of
that. We'll
course,
get
it's a
into
good game for him because they beat us by 14 points. Of course, like, yeah, I'm sure he thought it was a good game. I'm sure they
he
wanted. I'm
probably
sure he wanted to keep AOC in the game too.
yeah, I know, right? But AOC did have a solid game. He did have a solid game, man. The thing is, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Raider Chaos says no penalties and no turnovers was huge for us. You would think the game would have been closer or
Would have been
closing.
closer, yeah. Yeah, I
I
think he
think
meant
I think he
closer.
meant closer. Yeah. They played a clean game. And I think that goes back to me what I said earlier. I think that you could see the talent, the difference in talent with the Raiders, man. The better, come on, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. At the end of the day, like it showed after a while. Like like the Raiders kind of gave their best punch to start with, and a game
Yeah,
like this where the Chiefs got the upper hand as far as the quarterback coach, everything. You got to be super aggressive. You got to pull. You got to win some points in the game, and I felt like that's where the Raiders were lacking. I think that's where the Pierce kind of showed his inexperience with the lack. We talked
yeah,
about that earlier. The lack of aggression in these types of games. You got to be aggressive. You got to be able to roll the dice to win against some good talented teams like the Dolphins and the Chiefs. So the Raiders are not completely out of it. They're not completely out of it, technically speaking. But look, I think if they're going to go to the
mathematically, they're
playoffs,
not.
if they're going to
Mathematically,
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You
yeah.
kidding me? Playoffs?
Look,
if they're going to go to the playoffs, they're going to have to win 5 straight, aka 5
yeah,
and 7. Bisaccia was
man,
5 and 7 with the Raiders, man. Won 5 straight, went to the
yeah,
playoffs,
man.
but totally different
This is a
circumstance. Obviously, veteran
different circumstances,
QB.
man. Yeah, different circumstances, man.
Yeah, definitely different circumstances. I'm not over here trying to reach like that, but hey, man, I could hope just a little bit. I could hope a little
Nah,
bit. But Cool Kev in the building. He says Peters is gone. Christmas game early. Oh man, damn, Cool
oh,
Kev, man, come on, bro.
yeah.
When Amik is playing better than Peters, you deserve to bounce. Oh damn, hey man,
That shot fire right there,
he came
man.
out fine right there.
Yeah, he came out with the AK.
Hey,
Hey, Cool
came in with
Kev, is Cool Kev? I think it used to be a dude on one of these Raider blogs I was on named Cool Kev. I wonder if this is the same dude on the
Hey,
old
was that
IB
you?
a Buzz
That's
with Jerry McDonald.
damn. He's taking it back to IB Buzz. If you a true Raider fan, you remember that right there. That's a crazy blog back in the day. If you know, you know. Radar Chaos says, I hate how we always get great players past their prime on the cheap. Well, hey, look, at the end of the day, like it's all about expectations. When did we sign Peters? When did we sign him? Was he the first day? Did we sign him the first day of free agency? Did we sign him in the first wave of free agency? We signed him in training camp.
Yeah.
Expectations, bro. Like sometimes we gotta have our expectations need to be checked at the door. Like, look, at the end of the day, it was a late signing. It was a cheap contract, 1 year, $3 million. Like, it was low risk, high reward move. Like, at the end of the day, like, you know, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. I wanted it to work out, but if it was like, it wasn't like no Chandler Jones, like that's a terrible contract. We can break. All right, I'm back. All right. We had some technical difficulties, man. Can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? And T Severe, if you back there, hey, go ahead. I'm gonna see if I'll just drop the link again for you. My bad. Crazy. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Severe, you might be able to click the link that I sent you earlier. Severe is stuck somewhere. Hold on 1 second. And in the meantime, man, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit that notification bell. All right. I think that's Severe right there. Severe. All right, he back. Hey, we made it work. All right. What happened on your end? Did you get kicked out?
Yeah. I got booted.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I think I'm hearing you. Hold on. It's not coming through real quick. Say something real quick.
They want to shut you down.
All right, perfect. All right. Yeah, man. Hey, they tried to shut me down, man. We was speaking
the truth. Desert Raider said it.
We were speaking the truth, and I don't know. Hey, they tried to shut us down, but it's all good. We back. We still gonna talk about this Raider football. We gonna speak the truth.
Facts.
All right. Is it buffering for anyone else? Okay, yes. Oh yeah. No. We good. We back. Let's get back in the chat, man. Let's get back in the chat. Let's see. Let's get back. I'm literally behind in the chat, but let's see. We're starting for Raider Chaos. He says we need to retire 24 already. But you know what? The Raiders, they don't retire numbers, right?
No, they don't.
They don't retire numbers. Yeah, I think they should probably retire to 24, man. They should, man. That's just too because I just feel like it's been used and abused lately. You know, it hasn't been represented well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it ain't been the same since Michael Huff put it on, man. It ain't been the same since then, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Michael Huff, man. I don't know about that one.
Some of these youngins don't remember that good. So don't remember that.
That's a reach. That's a reach. But I think Woodson is probably the last, 24, bro. That was a real 24.
Did Abram wear 24?
Abram won 24 too. And I think he's barely hanging on too. He's with the Saints. I don't think he's starting for the Saints. He's like a backup special team safety.
Yeah, man.
He's a depth piece out there. Yeah, there might be some truth, Raider Chaos. I think the Raiders need to think about start retiring certain numbers, man.
Facts.
But then the thing is, they got a lot.
That's one thing that makes the Raiders special, though, is that we don't. That's one of the things that's a Raider thing that we don't retire numbers.
Right. But the thing is though, look, and D-Moke says the Raiders don't retire numbers. Yeah, and the thing is too, the Raiders got so many Hall of Famers, man. Like they'll run out of numbers, bro.
Yeah, facts.
They can't. Technically, they can't. If they were to retire every number, like eventually they're gonna run out. But J Dub in the building, he says, I'm thankful I was able to see 2 Hall of Fame 24 players play in person in my lifetime. Old man, Willie Brown and Seawood. You hold
Man,
up. You see? You see
Willie,
what? You said
you saw
Willie
Willie
Brown?
Brown play in person?
J
Dang,
Dub?
okay.
J Dub?
Hey,
I
but
did
how old
not.
are you, J man? How old are you, J Dub? Bro, what is your man? Black
What?
man, you
You
taking
see?
it way back.
You taking it way back. When did Willie Brown retire? That's actually a good question. Someone can answer that in the chat. That's a good little question. When did Willie Brown actually retire? But look, Marty Mart comes out and says AP didn't sign Peters, not a physical corner, so Facion will be ready and more for Hall, Sam Webb, Jones, and Meek. Thanks for your service, Marcus. Raider. Okay. He just kept it. Hey man, at the end of the day, like that's
Kept it
next
a
man
buck.
up. Next man up, pretty much.
Mm.
D-Moke says, I think we just need to focus on line first and foremost, both offense and defense. It all starts in the trenches. I agree.
Yeah, fact. I mean,
Yeah.
because you look at the Chiefs game, look at the skill positions. You know, we were speculating early on when we found out that Mecole Hardman wasn't playing and Kadarius Toney weren't playing. We were like who else they got? Or like who's gonna
Right.
play wide receiver?
Right.
And they still got a buck something out of Rashay Rice. Sky Moore still hurt us. Kelsey kills us always. So where they really whooped up on us was in the trenches, you know. So it's it's the story that's that keeps on repeating itself. You know, we get beat up front, and then we don't have enough talent in the back end to compensate for that.
Right. And D Menace has a friendly services announcement. Go head over to Severe Raiders channel, man. Hey, man, he's an up-and-coming Raider content creator. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe to his channel, like his videos, man, as well as this video, man, so I can keep coming back with more content. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button as well, and hit that notification bell so next time I go live, especially if I collab with Severe Raider, it's back-to-back weeks. I'm collabing with my guy, man. Hey, we gonna keep coming back, man, with content, man. So in order for us to do that, you gotta support us by liking the video and subscribing and hitting the notification bell, man. That helps out a lot. But you see the link, D Menace has posted a link, so go ahead and head over to his channel and subscribe if you haven't already, and get my guy's numbers up. Come on, man. Let's do it out here, man.
Yeah, salute to D Menace, man.
Mm-hmm. D-Moke says, I think AOC had a better QBR than Patty Mahomes. He's on the right track. Just need a better play calling and line. I like it. Yeah. AOC did play. He did play well.
D-Mokes, did he have a better QBR or better passer rating? Those are two. I think sometimes people conflate the two. So sometimes,
I think what I seen. This is what I seen. And let me actually pull this. Let me see if I can pull this up. But yeah, ESPN had QBRs for Week 12 Sunday, and this is the top 5. I'm gonna read it out here. 1 second here. So number 1, top 5 QBRs from this past Sunday, Week 12. Raiders Aiden O'Connell 90.4. Broncos Russell Wilson 89.2. Rams Matthew Stafford 85.3. Bills Josh Allen 83.1. And number 5 Patrick Mahomes 80.3. And guess who rounds out the bottom 5? Derek Carr. Derek Carr number 20. This is kind of weird. Bottom 5, but it's from 20 to 24. I think they just pretty much, I guess, maybe starting quarterbacks. Derek Carr 25.1, Bengals Jake Browning 22.6, Giants Tommy DeVito 7.4, Mac Jones 7.2, and Jets Tim Boyle 4.6. But Derek Carr,
that's crazy.
Wow,
it's crazy because DeVito won that game. That's crazy. DeVito actually won the game, but he was horrible. But he was playing against Mac Jones, who was even worse. So that's why he's able to win.
Yeah, man. I don't even want to get into the Derek Carr comment. All you guys got to know. He's struggling out there, man, with the Saints.
He is driving the struggle bus. He is driving the struggle bus, man.
He's struggling right now. He's struggling. It is what it is. It is what it is. But let's get into the next topic, yo. Let's get into the next topic. Let's see. Hold on. Should we get into the notable quotables?
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and drop it.
All right, let's get notable quotables. This is something that we just started recently, and let me go ahead and play the first clip. So you want to give the intro to that first clip? So this is
Yeah, this
one
is
of the sound bites from after the game.
yeah. So this was reporter asking Antonio Pierce basically, essentially like what would happen during the course of the game, and this is what Antonio Pierce had to say about it.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me set this up.
How important is it for the offense to remain that aggression and take chances when you have those situations to stay on top of them?
It is, and that was our plan. And there was opportunities there. And again, we look at the tape, and I'm sure you guys saw it. There were plays there. There were guys open, and we got to connect, and we got to make them. No different than we did in the run game in the first quarter.
How important is it for the offense to remain that aggression and take chances when you have those situations to stay on top of them?
It is, and that was our plan. And there was opportunities there. And again, we look at the tape, and I'm sure you guys saw it. There were plays there. There were guys open, and we got to connect, and we got to make them. No different than we did in the run game in the first quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just praised AOC and we talked about the top QBRs of Week 12, and Pierce is saying that the guy AOC missed some guys open, and he has to play better and yada yada. So go ahead and break down that clip, man.
So I was told, there's a quote. I had a math teacher, I got, not to toot my own horn, but your boy took a AP statistics in high school, But
Okay.
my statistics teacher, there's one thing he used to say, and that was there are lies, there are damn lies, and then there are statistics. And you can twist statistics to make it look good any way you want to. Statistics don't tell the whole story. That's
Right.
just numbers on a paper. No, they often aren't contextualized, and we do the best we can to add context to them, right? That's why there's passer rating and there's QBR. Those are both like, QBR is a little bit more accurate depiction of how well quarterback plays than passer rating. But QBR also doesn't tell the whole story because it doesn't show what was missed. It shows what the quarterback did, but it doesn't show what potentially he could have done and what was there for him to take and what he wasn't able to do. So that was Antonio Pierce saying there, like we left a lot of plays out on the field, not recognizing what was there. So you can check down the ball all day and get yardage and take care of the ball and not turn the ball over. You might get a touchdown pass in there, and you have a good QBR, but it's you're still leaving a lot on the field, and that's essentially what we're doing this last game. There was a lot left on the field.
Okay, and now give the intro to the second clip here by Pierce
And
again.
this is Pierce talking about what happened on that 4th-and-1 play. That essentially the play where we didn't convert.
All right, let's see here.
That 4th-and-1 to Jacobs. What did you see in that play? Was there like a breakdown on that 4th-and-1?
Yeah, we didn't execute. Poor execution, poor alignment, didn't give ourselves a chance. The play was over before we snapped it.
That 4th-and-1 to Jacobs. What did you see in that play? Was there like a breakdown on that 4th-and-1?
Yeah, we didn't execute. Poor execution, poor alignment, didn't give ourselves a chance. The play was over before we snapped it.
Yeah, man. I didn't even like the play call, man. It was just too predictable. I felt like why are we running it on Chris Jones? Like, did we feel like that was a great matchup? Like, why are we running it?
No.
I just hated that play call. Like, and I don't know, maybe that was a shot at the OC. That was a shot at maybe Andre James. Like, go ahead and talk about this clip.
So I think one of the things he talked about, and it's something that I've been harping on this whole time, whether it was Josh McDaniels, whether now that it's Antonio Pierce, I've been consistent. I'm not going to put all of the blame on the coach. I'm not going to put all of the blame on the play caller. There's a lot of blame that goes on the players. If you don't execute, then the play isn't going to be successful. So one of the things he talked about is the play was over before it started because of the alignment. You know who's in charge of calling out these run fits and all that stuff in this system, or well, unless it's changed since Bo Hardegree's taken over, but it's the quarterback. He's the guy that's responsible for making those calls generally. He's responsible for making those calls in the run game, and he's usually responsible for making the protection calls in the passing game. So this is one of the things where, having a rookie quarterback, it kind of hurts you. If guys aren't lined up correctly, it's the job of the quarterback to make sure they're lined up correctly. And us just our alignment, as he said there, just the way we're lined up, it ensured that play was unsuccessful before it started. And what kind of hurt us is that, and this is also a rookie head coach, right? Because if you maybe he didn't recognize it at the time, but if you see that's going on, this is a 4th-and-1 play, you call a timeout. Like the guys aren't lined up before they have an opportunity to snap the ball. Hey, yo, timeout. Get back over here. Well, what's going on out there, right? What are we doing? This is a pivotal play. So
Right.
that's kind of showing the inexperience of our head coach and inexperience of our quarterback. And it goes back to execution, which is poor execution has been the theme of this year. We've left, and it goes back to the previous clip as well. We leave a lot of plays out there on the field that could and should be made, but because we aren't executing, the plays aren't being made, and we're losing these games.
Right. And at the end of the day too, like, hey, it goes back to what I said earlier, man. At the end of the day, we're playing against a Patrick Mahomes led football team, Andy Reid coach team, and he's going against who? Antonio Pierce. As much as I like him, as much as he got these guys playing hard, he's showing some inexperience here and there. You know what I mean? And a guy like Andy
There's
Reid,
levels.
it's levels, man. It's levels, man. It's a game within a game. And like you just mentioned right now, like he could have easily just called a timeout there, and instead of saying that, oh well, the alignment was off. And obviously, hindsight's 2020. You could pick apart a play after it happens, but he was there right before the play was called, and he could have actually made he could have called a time and made an adjustment. But it is what it is. Hey, I'm not gonna jump off the ship for Antonio Pierce. I'm hoping that he could become the head coach for the Raiders. But Vinny actually kind of talked about the process of how the Raiders they're gonna have to go about hiring the next head coach. So it's gonna be actually a process. They're gonna have to look outside externally for head coach candidates, and they're gonna have to go through that process before they can hire and remove that interim tag on Antonio Pierce. Because a lot of people kind of been talking about, oh, the Raiders should just go ahead and, I think Keyshawn Johnson recently had a clip where he was like, man, the Raiders should go out and they need to make this guy the head coach. But there's actually a process. You got to know the rules. The Raiders can't actually do that. They got to wait. They got to wait until after the season. They actually have to interview candidates. And then once they go through that process, because you know what I'm talking about, right? They have to go through that process before they can make that decision and hire Antonio Pierce. But there's 5 games left. There's 5 games left. In your opinion, as of right now, do you think if the season ends today? Let me ask this question. I ask this question to the chat. If the season ends today, is Antonio Pierce the head coach of the Raiders next year?
If the season ended today, in my opinion, or what do I think Mark Davis would do?
In your opinion, and when your opinion based off not if you were the owner, if obviously Mark Davis is the owner, he's gonna have to make decisions. Mark Davis would.
Yeah, but
Mark Davis
basically what I
hiring
think
is
Mark Davis would do.
Yep.
I think Mark Davis would hire him, and I think it'd be the wrong move. I think what happened with Bisaccia has him kind of scared to not hire this guy. And I think I think if we hire him, because we have to figure out what we want to do. Do we want to hire an inexperienced head coach and go through those growing pains? Or do we want to hire a guy who is ready to be a head coach? He doesn't necessarily have to have been a head coach in the past. In my opinion, it's obvious that Antonio Pierce is not ready to be a head coach. Does he have the intangibles that are needed to be a good head coach? I think that the intangibles are there, but I don't think he's ready to be a head coach yet. And I think that we're going to go through a lot of growing pains with him. So if we were going to just take losing, then why not just lose with the last guy you had and save $86 million if you're going to just lose with your head coach because your head coach is constantly making mistakes?
That's tough.
You see what I'm saying?
But I see what you're saying, but I'm gonna play the other side to it. All right. this is not his team. This is a team that he took over. So this is a team that was established by McDaniels. These are moves that were made and influenced by Josh McDaniels. This is a guy that was an assistant coach under McDaniels' staff, but obviously he had no influence. He had no anything as far as who should be on the roster. Obviously now he does, because obviously Marcus Peters is gone. So I'm sure that was a head coach, GM decision in getting him leaving the building. But come on, like, he took over 3-5. They're now 5-7, obviously. Still 5 games left. So all I'm saying is that, like, he's kind of dealt a really tough hand. What you're saying though is that, like, I'm sure what you're saying is that, like, he still doesn't have he doesn't have the experience, but at the same time, like, we're not winning too as well. And would Mark Davis trust him to win in the future?
What I'm also saying is that, so let me ask you this. Let me frame the question this way. How long generally does it take before you can grade a draft class? Like, how many years does it take for you to grade a draft class? Like, just ballpark, before you know, like, truly what the draft class is.
Probably like 3 years. Three years.
I think that's the accepted
3 years
amount of time, right? It's 3 years. So was this team really Josh McDaniels' team, or was it an amalgamation of the bad draft picks and bad decisions made by the previous regime and some of the bad decisions that this regime has made, right? So it wasn't truly his team. He came in, his first year, they really didn't have their scouts in place. They didn't have a full draft class, probably because of mainly because of Devontae Adams draft. And then they just had this offseason, and that was it. This was the first full offseason they had. So was this really their team? It was the beginnings and the makings of their team, but it wasn't really their team. So now AP takes over, and we're saying, oh, come on, what do you expect? It's not his team. Josh McDaniels took over a team that had drafted poorly for 15 years. We didn't have any first-round draft picks on the roster, I want to say, at the time, outside of any first-round draft picks, I think, right? I don't believe there were any first-round draft picks still left on the team. And so we're expecting him to just, overnight, just churn out a winner. But that's not realistic. But now, that's what I'm saying, like, people don't keep it consistent. So now this AP, man, these ain't his players. These ain't his team. Well, what is AP going to do differently in one offseason than Josh McDaniels would have done, right? Is he going to remake this entire roster in one offseason? He's essentially going to be dealing with a lot of the same players next year. Outside of maybe, a different quarterback, possibly a different running back, maybe Devontae's gone, like, so how much different is this roster going to really be next year? So he's going to be essentially dealing with the same hand. He's going to be essentially the same team.
I agree. It's gonna take time to actually build out the roster in the coach's image, the GM's image. I understand that, but in that process, there has to be some type of improvement, some type of, like, okay, like, look, for example, what they're doing in Detroit, right? Detroit, that first year, they didn't win a lot of games, right? But that whole building was bought in that whole coach and that regime. It's not the same with the Raiders. I don't think it's hard to, like, use them as an example for, oh, well, it's not their team, and if they had their even if they had the play, even if you gave them like 3-4 drafts, I'm not sure if we would have seen a huge improvement with the Raiders. I'm just based off the decisions that they made, like the small decisions, like from the Chandler Jones to the Jimmy G. Like, what made you think that Jimmy G was gonna be like that decision alone makes me think, like, what are you gonna do in the draft when you actually have to draft a QB in the first round, which most likely would have happened if McDaniels was still here, right?
I think Ziegler. Apparently Ziegler knew he's someone new quarterbacks. I don't know how much. I think part of whenever a head coach is taking a job, the first thing they do is they look at the quarterback situation. So do these guys either have a potential franchise quarterback in place, or do they have the ability to get a franchise quarterback? So you're looking at hey, where are they picking at in the draft or who's currently on the roster? I think they came into the situation thinking Derek Carr was going to be that guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, like that shows what kind that shows that means that shows their ability to scout right within the NFL because I think they were fooled. They thought that they had a franchise quarterback in Derek Carr. I think if they knew that Derek Carr was what Derek Carr was, they probably wouldn't have taken this job because he was being very selective in terms of what jobs he was going to take. So I think that was their downfall. I think Jimmy G was like plan C. I think Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers was probably plan A and B. And when both of those fell through, they had kind of had to settle for what was left out there, and they went with the guy that they were familiar with, and that failed horribly.
It kind of makes me think though to think about it like the Raiders are gonna have to come to the realization that they're gonna have to do a rebuild at some point. They're gonna have to blow it up, man. You know what I
Yes,
mean? If
yes.
like, cause I was thinking about it over the like I'm thinking about like guys like Devontae Adams, like his contract is just gonna get that much more expensive. He's gonna get that much older. I still think he's gonna be a real good player. I'm not saying
Oh,
that, but we're gonna be in a point where we're trying to build something, but we're not gonna be ready to win at where Devontae Adams wants to. It's not matching up. So I think they're gonna have to figure it out. Hopefully, they figure it out with the regime with the coaching staff that they have now. So it'll be a more easier, smoother transition. You got something to say?
now I was just saying like I see the comment from Marty Mark players want to play like what is different now under these coaches than what was happening under the previous coaches. Players are playing hard. Okay, they're playing hard. We still scoring under 20 points. We're still losing late in games. We're still blowing leads that we get in the first. Like, what's different? Like, so they
Right.
say, oh, they're not going to play like this. Well, what's different? Like that's why people like they look at stuff emotionally. Like, oh, these guys they're out there really fight. Okay, they're really fighting, but what are the results? What are
Well,
the results?
but
You
look, look,
still
look,
getting
look.
mixed, bro. You can fight as hard as you want to, but if I put you in the blender, like whether I knock you out or not, like you still getting mixed. You feel
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
So it's like,
But to keep it real though, to be honest with you, look, the type of coach that Antonio Pierce is, he's that rah-rah coach. He's gonna get the team
yeah,
ready. He's gonna get the team motivated. He's a player's coach. You could tell, like the players believe him. They're gonna play hard under him. What you gotta what you gotta surround around him is a good coaching staff, X's and O's. Like Bo Hardgree, is he a would you say he's the offensive coordinator in this league? I'm not sure. You know what I mean? We got to get someone in that building at the
I don't
very
think so.
least. Yeah, at the very least, the Raiders need to upgrade that OC position. At the very least, meaning that like if we're gonna keep Pierce, then that OC position needs to be a home run,
Yeah,
hit,
yeah,
especially if we're going into the draft where we can see all these quarterbacks. We got to make sure that we can have a quarterback come in and have him develop the quarterback that comes in. So I think that's going to be a big part of the Raiders moving forward. If they're going to keep Pierce, is they're going to have to upgrade that OC position. So it's kind of like, man, how could you judge a guy like Pierce so hard, but then at the same time be like, but look, he got a first time play caller. He's not calling the plays.
yeah. But I mean, but by that same token, bro, like at the end of the day, you're the head. So before when we were losing, right, we blamed it all on Josh McDaniels. We said we had more than enough talent to win. We implored Josh people implored Josh McDaniels to give up the play calling so that we could win, and we wanted to give the reins to a first time play caller and the offensive coordinator's name, who name escapes me right now. We wanted us to give him the reins of the play calling, right? But as Antonio Pierce just illustrated in those clips, it's not the play calling, it's the execution. So we can't keep going back to this. Oh, it's the play calling and this. People say, somebody just said like, we're not embarrassed, bro. We lost 31-13 after the first quarter. How are you not embarrassed by that? Like I'm embarrassed by that. Like I'm not taking no moral victories, bro. We got stomped. in our stadium by one of our biggest rivals. They came into our house and clowned on us. 31-13 after the first quarter. Like that's unacceptable. I'm not taking that. Like I said, I'm not giving no passes to nobody, bro. And I don't think AP is ready. I don't think Hardigree is ready. Um, I don't think AOC is the guy. Like I think we need to blow this thing up. It's time to bottom out, and that's what Raider fans don't want to hear. But it's time to bottom out, and we have to make some tough decisions in terms of our head coach, in terms of our GM. But I mean, we keep trying to do this. We keep trying to put this like it's like you if you building a house and you're not constructing it right, but instead of just tearing it down, you keep trying to like nail a piece of wood here and then like I'm gonna put some glue right here and it's gonna like nah man, you just gotta tear it down and just build it back up right.
Mm-hmm. And Daniel Kim got a question. He says, if we keep AP, who do you want as OC? I got one. Josh McDaniels. I'm just messing with y'all, man. That's a good question, man. I'm gonna throw it at you, Severe. Who do you want as OC for the Raiders? And I haven't really looked into who could be the OC. I've been looking at head coaches right now, but like,
Yeah.
who could be a possible OC in your mind? Like top of the head. If you don't know, it's all good. But
Yeah,
to think.
there's a quarterback coach for the Houston Texans. I think it's Gerard Johnson. He's a guy who name instantly sticks out to me. Other than that, I really can't think of any other candidates I've really looked at, to be honest with you.
And then Marty Marr actually has something to say. He says, D'Amico Ryans is a rookie coach too, but the difference is OTAs and minicamp and training camp. Yeah, you know that. Hey, he didn't say training camp, but I'll say it for him. Hey, that is
All
true.
these players went through. But that's what I'm saying. We're not running a new system. So, like, get that out of your head. We have a new play caller, but we're not running a new system. We've changed some of the blocking schemes, but this is essentially the same system, the same language. Everything is, for the most part, the same. We've changed some of the blocking, do a little bit more zone blocking, but for the most part, we're running the same system. You can't make wholesale changes in the middle of the year. Hardigree came up under the system with Josh McDaniels in New England. This is what he knows. So we're not making wholesale changes. We're running the same offense. So it's not like we're like, oh, everybody has to learn a new offense. No, bro, this is what they've been running since OTA, since training camp. Like, this is the same thing. So if they're not executing it, that's not because it's something new. It's because they're just not executing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, look, I hear you, man. I hear you. I hear you. Nothing has changed, but you know what I've seen? I've seen reports about how the playbook has been changed a little bit because obviously a lot of the players, specifically Aiden O'Connell, has struggled with it. And it is a tough offense, and we've heard even Devontae Adams when he first got here talk about, oh man, it's like learning Mandarin. You know what I'm saying? Like learning a completely different language in order to understand the offense. And it was a struggle for last year's offense, but they were able to get past it because you had Josh Jacobs to pretty much cover a lot of the mistakes in the pass game. The pass game was a struggle all year long. This year, the run game hasn't been there, and now you could see how everything just went downhill for McDaniels. But Up for Review says, I mean a different QB. Starkey, I think he's talking to someone in the chat. I'm going to go to the next one. He said, Raider Chaos, in order to win for a long time, we need a coach that can develop talent, not just keep changing out talent until you get the players that fit. Okay. It was Nick 209 says we should always be looking for a QB. Facts. I've said it time and time again. No matter what, if AOC plays good this year, finish the season strong, I still feel like, we need to go into that draft. This is a draft where it's full of QBs. Raiders need to get their guy, and I'm gonna feel so good this time next year, because I know that our quarterback room is set. It's the most important position in football. Like, let's keep it real. Like, if you don't got a quarterback, you're damn near over. Your season's over. But look, let's get into the next topic. This is what's real and what's not, man. What's real and what's not. And I'll start it off by what's real. For me, what's real is is Aiden O'Connell's accuracy, man. Can we? Hey, the dude, man. If there's something great about him, it's gonna be how accurate. That's gonna be his bread and butter. His accuracy. He started the game 11 for 12 for 128 yards. I think he threw a touchdown at that point. He was throwing dimes left and right. He even threw a pass to Jacoby Myers sideline. I was like, no. And then, Myers made a hell of a play on the ball.
Yeah.
But it was still a great pass as well. Man, like Aiden O'Connell, bro, and we just talked about he had the top QBR this past weekend and going against Patrick Mahomes. So it says a lot about him and about his future. I feel like, there's some potential there. But like I said just a few moments ago, we still should attack the draft and get a QB that's going to be a big part of the Raiders next year, man. I think that QB position needs to be a target, man, because I'm seeing what they're doing out there in Houston with C.J. Stroud, your boy.
With my guy.
Yeah, no doubt. But
nah, man, I definitely agree, man. That was one of AOC's strengths coming out. He's always had solid to average to above average arm strength, and he was an accurate guy. And that definitely holds true. I think those first plays where he's essentially running the script that the Hardegree implements for the game. I think when he's when we keep him on rhythm, he's a guy that he can dice you up. But as we all know in the NFL, things aren't going to go perfectly, and you can't always stick to the script. So when you have to create plays for yourself or play outside of the script or off schedule, what kind of quarterback are you? And I think that's what separates the good, the average, and the great quarterbacks in this league is their ability to consistently create plays where there sometimes aren't any plays.
But would you say every great quarterback has been a guy that's been great off script? I mean, like, there's guys that's just, hey, they're good within the system. Like, they can play within the framework of the offense, and they can figure out their way. Like, we've seen great quarterbacks, but in today's day and age, we haven't seen it in a long time. Like, the up-and-coming quarterbacks coming in the league, it's a different breed of quarterbacks. Like, they're not the same great pocket passers that we're used to seeing with the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Brady's. Like, now it's just like a whole breed of quarterbacks, like, where they're incorporating their ability to buy time in the pocket. So that's why we're kind of looking at Aiden O'Connell, and we're like, can he be that guy? I don't know. It's tough. Yeah. Like, a lot of things got to go right for him to be, a great quarterback in this league. He could be a good quarterback. He probably might be great backup QB, solid starting QB. Who knows? But the one thing that I say is real is, hey, man, the dude is accurate as hell, man. The dude, he was throwing dimes left and right against a really tough defense. Hey, the Chiefs' defense has been a strength this year. I think it's been better than their offense, if you want to keep it real.
But they still got a top 10 offense.
They still got a top 10 offense? Hey, man, I misspoke. I was trying to talk some trash. Hey, Hefe KC, if you're in the building, I still hate the Chiefs. But let's go to what's not. What's not real about this team?
What's not for me is clock management and game management by Antonio Pierce. I think one of the things that was the turning point of the game was us not going for it on that 4th and 1, as we kind of spoke about earlier. Another one was, why did we not call the timeout at the end of the first half when the Chiefs essentially had ran the ball, basically like daring us to call the timeout? So at that point, I think it was 2nd down. So even if they want to, like, they would have to make a decision of what they want to do on that next down. I think that was kind of poor clock management. The Chiefs end up scoring. I believe they end up scoring anyway. So it's just like those kind of things. Those are the little things that separates good head coaches. Like him not calling the timeout on that 4th and 1, right? If you see the alignment is not right, you got to hop in there and you got to call a timeout. And it's those kind of things that some of that stuff comes from experience, but some of that stuff has to be innate, right? Some of that stuff you just have to have a feel for the game, like that. And that's something that I will say right now. That's something that Josh McDaniels lacks. And if it's something that Antonio Pierce lacks as well, I don't care how rah-rah you get somebody. If you get them rah-rah to go out there and get stomped in the mouth, like you can get them excited as you want to be. But if you go out there and you're not making, the correct decisions, I think sometimes his decisions, like when to challenge, when not to challenge, I know sometimes that comes from upstairs, but sometimes you need a person in that position to be a decision maker, not depend on the guys buzzing you from upstairs saying you should do it or not. Always looking at the analytics. Sometimes you got to go with the feel of the game. And I don't know. I don't know how good his feel for the game is yet. And like I said, sometimes that's it's like instincts, right? There are some players that are good and they're just good because they're instinctive guys, like Tyrann Mathieu or Jesse Bates is a guy that's like that, right? There's not only their ability to play or their size or their speed, it's just their instincts, their ability to have a feel for the game, anticipate what you're trying to do, and then be able to counter that. And I don't know if AP has that feel for the game as a head coach yet.
We got to give him more time. I understand you got to be critical. You got to call a spade at the end of the day. Like that's the area where we noticed, like, okay, the management of the game, where times where he can be aggressive, he wasn't aggressive. Times where he should have, probably been a little bit more conservative. Maybe against the Jets before halftime. Remember where he had Aiden O'Connell holding the ball in the pocket, like this tough position you put your quarterback in, like against a good defense, like it just there. I think it's a work in progress. I think he's shown some good things, and then there's 5 games left. We'll see how it shakes out with them. There's still plenty of time where he could rally this team, finish strong. What's your, let's get into it, man. Like, let's get into let's look ahead, man. Let's look ahead. Let me see if I could pull this up. My bad. What's next? What's ahead? And we're gonna get into the chat. How do you see this team finishing record-wise? They're heading into a bye week right now. If anybody doesn't know, they're going into a bye week. They're not going to be playing next weekend. Much needed bye week. Pretty late. Usually it's a little bit earlier, maybe at least at the latest, the midway point. But where do you see this team finishing?
In all honesty, I see us
5-7 right now.
Yeah, I see us winning two of the next 5 games. I got us beating the Colts, and I got us beating the Chargers. I think the Chargers have given up on Staley, and I just think we're just a better team than the Colts. I'm hoping that my only hope is that DeForest Buckner just doesn't wreck the game for us. But other than that, I can see us beating the Colts, and I see us beating the Chargers. I guess my question would be, since we keep coming back to this isn't his team or he was put in a bad situation, what does because obviously the chat seems to think that, especially my man Marty Mark, he seems to think that this team has made some incredible progress that just hasn't shown up in terms of winners and losses yet. So what does AP have to do to prove that he is the guy? Because if our fallback is always going to be, oh, this isn't his team, he took over at a bad time, well, then what happens if we give him the job and he's not the right guy, right? Based on, oh, this not being his team, or he needs a full training camp and OTAs. Well, what if we need full training camp and OTAs to come out and do the same thing? You feel what I'm saying? So, like, what does, like, I'm wondering, like, the chat, let us know in the chat or in the comment section what you guys think AP has to do in order to prove that he should be the next Raiders coach. But some of you guys think he's done enough already. I think he has not done enough already.
I think so they're 5-7 right now. They got the Vikings after the bye week. I think they got the Chargers or the Chiefs right after. I think they play the Chiefs. I think they play the Chiefs around Christmas, right?
I think they got the Vikings and the Colts, I believe. I think it's that
Vikings,
order. I could be wrong.
I'm not gonna predict the order, but I know they play the Vikings, the Colts, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos. Those are the last 5 games, right?
I believe the Broncos is the
So
last game of the year. I think.
Broncos last game of the year. So man, I'm gonna go 9-8. 9-8. 9-8. The Raiders finished 9-8, and I feel like, hey, I think that's gonna be enough for sure.
So we're fine. So wait a minute. So wait a minute. Hold up. Hold up. What? Hold up. Hold up. Oh, I was reading the comment section. Did you say 9-8? Oh, bro. you was you was kicking it with Roger Taylor, wasn't you? You was
Playoffs?
kicking it
What
with
talk about?
Roger.
Playoffs? You kidding me?
You was kicking it with Roger
Playoffs?
Taylor.
I
That's
just
you
hope we
the
can
reason
win a
he cut.
game. Another
You're the
game.
reason Roger Taylor not on the squad no more, bro. You said,
Hey, you might as well sing this, bro.
Hell no. To the no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no.
oh man, bro.
Hey,
If we go 9-8, I'll be like, if we go 9-8, hey, give AP the job. Give AP the job. Yo, look, don't even, man. Interview Bo Hardegree and interview, a high school coach from the Vegas
oh yeah, I just
area,
thought
and then
so.
just give
They
it
would
to
have
just
they
give
would
it
have
to
to win
AP.
like four games. 4 games out of the five. Damn, 4 out of 5.
Who was those? Because
Oh, I take it.
are
Hey,
we
can I
beating the
take that
Chiefs?
back? Can I take it? I take it back.
Yeah, I'm
I
about to say,
take
are we
it back.
beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead in the cold?
All right, realistically speaking, I feel like they can beat the Vikings. I think they can beat the Colts, and I think they can beat the Chargers. That's 3 games. And then I didn't mention Denver because Denver is hot right now. They're hot.
I
They're
don't think
playing good.
Denver. I don't
It's
think.
gonna be
I
it's
don't think we're getting Denver. I don't think we're getting Denver. Denver
at
is.
home. At home.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think we get. I don't think we beat Denver. I mean, we haven't been playing well at home this
So
year.
that's
To be honest with
that's
you.
why I said initially. That's why I said, hey, look. That's why I said 9-8. But
Mhm.
looking at this offense and how they're struggling to get 20 points, the play calling has been suspect. Look, Josh Jacobs, he finished for 110 yards, right?
Yeah,
He had
63
like
came out on one carry.
he had 63 yards coming 1 carry, but he had 19 other carries, got him 47 yards.
2.5 yards per carry.
You know what I'm
Not
saying?
gonna get it
So,
done, man.
like, in order for them to win those games, and I've said this before, I feel like the Raiders offense needs to lean on Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs needs to take over. If you guys remember when Bisaccia was head coach, the Raiders offense, people forget, like, oh yeah, Derek Carr is making play. But it was Josh Jacobs literally was the offense. Like, he was taking over
Yeah.
these games. He was going over for 100 yards. He was the Charger killer. He was the Denver killer. You know what I mean? He has to take over in order for the Raiders to have a chance to win some of these games and make a run, or at least finish the season strong. So that's my
Josh
thing. It's
Jacobs
like,
ain't been the same, man. He ain't been the same
yeah,
this year. He hasn't been the same. And this was the worry that we had, right? This is the worry that many people that didn't want to give him a big money long term deal had. That generally, when guys come back after the type of wear and tear that he had on his body the year before, they usually aren't the same guys, or they usually end up, getting hurt. That has been the theme. Like, it happens all the time. It happened like, with Saquon, it happened with Christian McCaffrey, it happened with David Johnson, like it happened with I said Saquon already, but like that's that Jonathan Taylor, like that's a consistent thing, and he just hasn't been the same. And one thing that was interesting, I will want to kind of circle back to something you said earlier about us changing the playbook. I think what players were saying is that before with Josh McDaniels, what made it so difficult, but this is also something you want, is that every week we went in to a game with a game plan specific for our opponent based on what that opponent did.
right.
And this is something that we're not doing anymore. Now they're just letting guys run the plays they like to run. And like that's some like elementary tiddlywinks type stuff, bro. Like you gotta have the ability to absorb these game plans and have a game plan specific for your opponent. Now apparently, it was too difficult for some of the guys, and that's why that was a lack of execution. But it's like you can't be running because teams start to pick up on these tendencies, and once they adjust to you, as you can see, we get off to these hot starts in the first half, and they adjust second half, and then it's the same story.
Right. Mark Carboni says need Harbaugh to have a chance against Reed and Peyton. Coaching matters. The clock management has been horrendous. And
Yes,
that's a
man. I
point
agree
that
here.
some people make, and I think Severe is also kind of implying with Pierce is that, you know, we're in a division with not just these QBs but also the coaches, Andy Reid and Sean Payton. These are guys that won Super Bowls. They led Super Bowl teams, that led teams to Super Bowls. And can you say that with your chest out confidently that, you know, that Pierce is a better coach than Reid? That Pierce can coach? You know, you can't really say that. It's still up in the air. You know, as much as I want him to possibly be the head coach, he has to kind of do a lot in order for him to come back next year. I think in Mark Davis's eyes, Mark Davis, Bisaccia won 5 straight, went to the playoffs, was in the game against, Cincinnati Bengals, and he still didn't come back. You know what I'm saying? Hold on one second.
Yes. So I got a question. I got a question for the chat. Since, you know, some of you guys love the progress we've made, you know, so much. We've beaten 2 of the worst teams in the league. Who do y'all think would have been a better coach, Bisaccia or Antonio Pierce? If you had your druthers and you could choose either one of those guys, who would you have chosen? So if Bisaccia wasn't good enough to be selected as the head coach, no, should we give that job to Antonio Pierce? And then that's a serious question. I think that Bisaccia was better suited and better positioned, just the amount of time he's been around the game, being a special teams coach, having to deal with both offense and defense, you know, the type of leader he was. I think he was better positioned to be a head coach. But even yet and still, I don't know if he would have been the right choice to be the choice. So, you know, if I didn't think Versace was going to be the right guy, I don't think that somebody said Carr. I don't think that Antonio Pierce, and I don't know, I'm not sure if I can trust him. You know, like this is not a job you get training wheels on, right? Are you going to bring in, unless you do what, you know, some other teams do, and you bring in like a super veteran OC to kind of like, you know, to kind of mentor him, and hopefully you can keep Patrick Graham there. But I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm trying to see what you guys think.
And Jeff Williams, I think he's referring to Pierce as well. Like, he's making a point here, which is, it's a valid point. Does he even know how to pick a staff? You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna be, you got to take that in consideration. What's the staff going to look like if Pierce becomes head coach, like full-time head coach?
Right.
Is Graham going to come back? Which I would like for him to come back based off like what he's had to work with the talent on his team defensively. I want that system to continue to build off. Like, it's the second year in a row they had the same defensive system. Let's make it a third. Let's add some talent. Let's add some key players to this to the defense with Patrick Graham leading that defense. Offensive coordinator, that's a huge position. Big draft. We're talking about drafting a QB. You want someone to come in and be developed right, so you want that offensive coordinator to be the right guy. That's a huge. And Daniel Kim's asking right now. He says, "Who's your OC candidate?" I think you asked the same question earlier, but yeah, man, we'll get into all that stuff, man. That's probably a future show. We gotta break that down. We're actually gonna. That's actually a very good question as far as like looking at OC candidates. We've been looking at like head coach candidates, but it's like who are gonna be if Pierce comes back? Who are the OC candidates? It's a very good question.
Right. Yeah,
Marty,
man, I don't know.
I'm behind in the chat. We are not playing third string QB in COVID every week like 2021.
Man,
Cowtown Luda says keep the OC. It's the O-line. Let him get a full year with the play calling. He's open-minded enough to ask players their takes, and it will work. So he's probably alluding to Pierce being a player's coach.
Right. Yeah, but so like I kind of said this before, right? We hired, and I think it was 97. In 97, every player went up to Al Davis's office and banged the table for Joe Bugle to be the head coach of the team. like Tim Brown, like all the best players on the team. How still I forgot, but all the best players on the team, all the best players on the team. They went up to Al Davis' offices. This is who we want. We love this guy. We'll play hard for this guy. This is the dude that's going to lead us. Yada yada yada. We went 4-12 that year. Joe Bugle got fired after one season. I don't care who you like. It's who you respect, right? Most of us don't like our bosses, but it's not about whether we like them or not. Are they effective at their job? Do they have a plan in place? Is that plan being executed? Do they have fallback plans if that plan doesn't work? No, do they know their stuff? Like, that's the kind of stuff I care about. People get so much into this, oh, I don't like him, or the players don't like him. I don't care about, like, do you respect him? Can he do the job? And that's all I care about. You can get all the rah-rah cheerleading. If you want a rah-rah person, hire a mascot as your head coach. Like, that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in somebody that's going to get the job done. People worry about the wrong things. Somebody that can be effective in the job, somebody that's going to demand respect. Like, I think Max Crosby talked about all the time. Like, Versace was a dude, he'll cuss people out, mother effer him, and all that stuff. But he had the balance where afterwards he would go put their arm around them and comfort them. I think Josh McDaniels was lacking that second piece. And so it's not about, liking the guy. It's about respect, him commanding respect.
And going back to that question about who do you want your OC, and we kind of talked about this. Did we talk about this before? We talked about like possibly Eric Bieniemy. You know what I mean?
We did talk about Eric. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We did
it
talk
doesn't
about
work out with
if Ron Rivera gets fired,
and we talked about the good cop bad cop they can play. Where Pierce can play that good cop, and then obviously Bieniemy with his history with developing Mahomes and coaching all that the offenses or whatever. We're not talking about as a head coach candidate because we know might be a big risk with him because obviously we know like he's kind of he rubs a lot of players the wrong way. But as an OC, where he's kind of shown that he's developed like guys like the quarterback out there with the Commanders, who's a lot of people didn't really expect too much out of him, and he looks
Sam Howell.
I think he came out of North Carolina State, I think, or North Carolina. Did Sam Howell come out of North Carolina?
I don't remember.
Yeah, but I don't remember. That being said, that could be a candidate. But like I said, that's going to be a future show where we talk about. We'll probably break down like possible OC candidates. If we get to that point, we don't even know who's going to be the head coach. It's going to be hard to. We don't know for sure. As much as we were predicting like Pierce and some people were saying Harbaugh. And that's the one thing with Harbaugh, right? Let's say if Harbaugh is the coach. That's another thing. Who's going to be his OC?
I don't know, man. Who's OC before?
Man, it's the dude. He was actually the OC for the Ravens.
Is it Greg Roman? Greg
Roman. Yeah.
Yeah, Greg Roman. Oh, yeah.
I don't. If he brings them, come on, man. That's the one thing about Harbaugh is like, hopefully it's someone that's innovative, a good OC, young OC. But if he goes back to,
it reminds me of when we hired Arshell, and then he brought what's my man's name from the bed and breakfast.
Oh my God. Oh man, that was probably the worst. That was the worst. That was
Chet.
That was
Chet, help me out, man.
Art Shell, when Al Davis hired Art Shell the second time around, in the 2000s, right? Early 2000s.
Yeah, because nobody else wanted the job, basically.
Nobody else wanted a job, and Art Shell was looking around to get people to fill out his staff, and he went back to his old OC. And the dude he was so removed from football, he was running a bed and breakfast.
And what's the name? The chat knows the name, man.
Bro, as Raider fans, we've seen everything. We've seen everything as Raider fans. We've seen all types of dysfunction. But if someone in the chat can go ahead and let us know, man, I feel like it's tip my tongue, but it won't come out, bro. Man. But Marty Mart says, what is he saying right here? The problem with ordering or getting an offense coordinator is that eventually they're gonna leave and become a head coach. So most people like to have an offensive coordinator as their head coach. What do you say to this?
Because and
the thing is, if you guys have talked to Zafir or heard of Zafir talk, he's actually kind of like implied like the Raiders could probably go maybe get a Ben Johnson and maybe a Frank Smith out of the Dolphins offensive coordinator. So he said this right now. So just to let y'all know, he's not advocating for Harbaugh. I'm not advocating for Harbaugh just because the reason why is because I'm kind of tired of us reaching back in the past from coaches that had, success back then, but now they're coming back to recreate what they did in the past. Like it's tough, man. And that's my thing with Harbaugh. But I feel like with the offensive minded coach, are you 100% sold on Ben Johnson? Are you 100% sold on Frank Smith?
I mean, I'm probably more. I mean, I think Ben Johnson is going to be a name that's going to be very hot. Like, I think he's probably the Commanders got a new ownership group. They got a quarterback that they think they like. I think they're going to potentially throw a lot of money at a guy like Ben Johnson after seeing what he was able to do with with the Detroit Lions and that receiver core. And it's not like the Commanders don't have any weapons on the outside. They got some guys. They've had inconsistent quarterback play. So I think if they believe that Ben Johnson can kind of correct the problems with how I think they have they have deep pockets. They wouldn't mind throwing a whole bunch of money at a guy like Ben Johnson or Carolina. They're down Frank Reich, but their defensive coordinator now he's a hot head coaching commodity too. So he's a guy that might get a look down there. So I mean, I think it's gonna be tough for us to get those top names that's out there in the market, especially because I don't know financially if Mark Davis is going to want to pay a whole bunch of money for another coach and give him a lot of years. Why we just paid dang near $100 million to get rid of the previous GM and coach, and we might have to hire another GM or give Champ Kelly a raise. So it's just I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think Frank Smith is an under the radar guy. You mentioned before that he was with the Raiders before. So I think that could be kind of a nice fit for him to slide back in. He kind of understands the culture of the team, understands what it is to work with Mark Davis. So I think he's a guy that's under radar. He's in Miami. The guys that come from that Kyle Shanahan tree, he's working under Mike McDaniels, who coached under Kyle Shanahan. So I think that could possibly work.
Yeah, and you know what? And I just want to give a friendly service announcement, man. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit that notification bell so you could be notified when we go live. When I go live with my guy Severe, man. Hey, man, second week in a row where we collab, man, and it's another successful, great show. And Mark Carbone says the Patriot boys neglected the O-line. Hey, that's 100% facts. They believed in their coaching so much that they didn't really make any upgrades to the O-line. I think the only position that they not upgraded but changed was probably Alex Bars was removed from the starting lineup and they replaced him with Greg Van Roten. And
yeah,
it wasn't it was more of a lateral move. I don't know if Van Roten has his struggles, so it's not like huge. I felt like the O-line probably took a step back because you got run blocking. Like they haven't been the same team blocking for Josh Jacobs. To be fair, Josh Jacobs is not the superhuman running back that he was a year ago as well. So the running game has taken a step back. Hopefully they'll address the O-line. I'm tired of Andre James. I want him to be replaced. Let's come on. Let's get rid of him.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I think we might be able to kill two birds with one stone and move Parham over because Parham is not it at guard. He's good in pass pro, man, but run blocking, dude, is garbage.
Marty Marr says Harbaugh's going to Chicago, draft Caleb. All right, hey, let him go to Chicago. It's all good, man. It's all good. Up for review, my guy JT says Ben Johnson, Lions only for OC. Brian Johnson, Eagles OC. Eric B, Redskins, he means the Commanders. Head coach interview. Oh, head coach interview. Okay, he's looking for him as a head coach. Okay, not an OC. Shane Waldron, Seahawks OC, assistant head coach or head coach candidate. So I think this is candidate list. For the Raiders.
Ben Johnson is not coming over as OC. Like Ben Johnson is probably the hottest name in head coaching community right now. So
Yeah.
he's definitely not going to take a lateral move to go to a bad team. You know, he just if he's going to stay OC, he can just stay with the Lions.
Right.
Um,
And continue to build
Brian,
on his success.
yeah,
Yeah.
Brian Johnson is an interesting name. But if we hire Brian Johnson, that basically go Aiden O'Connell's gone. So if you like Aiden O'Connell, you know, Brian Johnson's gonna probably have to make a move for a different quarterback. Eric Bieniemy, you know, we've kind of talked about the worst with Eric Bieniemy before. He's kind of a, you know, I want to say Josh McDaniels type, but he's a guy that you know kind of gets on his players, and he's really tough on his players. And apparently that this team they really couldn't take it.
Let me actually say this too as well. Now, the Raiders, obviously, I'm gonna say this, but I'm word this in a way. Look, if you look at Pierce, right? He's a player's coach, right? The Raiders are located where? They're located in Vegas. And when a lot of the situations that happen with the Raiders happened after Gruden was dismissed, fired, however you want to look at it, he was gone.
Yeah.
The Henry Ruggs situation happened. The Damon Arnett situation happened.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's going to probably take a certain type of head coach to keep that whole team together in a city where it's full of distractions. Now, as soon as McDaniels gets fired, Pierce takes over, players coach. We didn't touch on this. Over the weekend.
Very good point.
Over the weekend, safety, I forgot his name. If you can remember
Roderick
his name.
Teamer.
Roderick Teamer was arrested for a DUI. And he was. It was announced today that he was also released along with Marcus Peters for totally different reasons. Obviously, they released Roderick Teamer because of DUI. So, you know, everybody's excited. Oh, the players, coach, all this left and right. But what is it going to take for a coach to be successful in Vegas? Is it going to be a players coach, or is it going to be a guy that's going to be kind of like, hey, my way or the highway? It's my rule. It got to be a tough guy over there, setting a strong standard out there. Obviously, it didn't work with McDaniels. It didn't work with McDaniels for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's something to keep an eye on. Like, hey, DUI, like, come on, that's a bad look for Pierce.
Good point.
You know what I mean?
It's
like,
very, very good point.
It's a bad look, man. It's a bad look. So that's something to keep an eye on. It's because I think Mark Davis is looking at everything. He's gonna look at everything before he makes his hire as a head coach too.
Yeah, I think that's why Pierce cut Roderick Teamer. I think he's trying to send a message. Cut Marcus Peters too after the blow up on the sideline. So I think he's trying to send a message where I'll be cool with you to a point, but if you cross the line, I have to let you go. I don't know if Antonio Pierce ordered the code red on Roderick Teamer, or if that came down from Mark Davis. I think Mark Davis might have dropped that elbow from the sky, though. To be honest with you.
And I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing Mark Davis talk to the head coach after the game. Come on, man. You told the world that you don't know nothing about football. What are you talking to the head coach after the game? I understand it's his team. He can do whatever he's want. I understand that completely. But I just don't like there should be a chain in command. I feel like there should be a chain in command. I don't think like Mark Davis. What are you going to say to the head coach that's going to make any type of sense? You're not going to say anything of substance to him other than like, hey, I'm going to fire your ass if you don't do what I say. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I just don't like the conversations. And what I'm talking about is Vic Tafur. He made a comment saying that, oh, there goes Aiden O'Connell before the head coach. That means that Mark Davis got to the head coach and Antonio Pierce before. I'm like, come on, man. That's not something I want to hear, man. I was giving his praises for getting rid of that, to paying all that money to get rid of Josh McDaniels. But, come on, man. Well, I want to see some structure with the Raiders. If there's not going to be any structure with the Raiders, then how are they going to win? All the winning teams have a certain level of structure. And it's just it's one of the things that I'm frustrated with. But, it is what it is. We'll see. But, D-Menace wants to remind y'all again, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't
Yes, sir. Yes,
subscribed.
sir.
My guy Severe Raider is joining me today, man. Hey, make sure to go over to his channel and subscribe to his channel. As he up and coming Raider content creator. You see it on the screen. Severe Raider on YouTube. The Severe Raider on other social media platforms like Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you got a Twitter as well?
I got the Twitter up, man.
Is it X? Twitter?
X, man. People just still call it Twitter. Man, I'm about to have a True Social. OnlyFans. I'm having message.
Hey, man, this dude's a crazy man. Hey, look, y'all, man. Make sure to go over to the channel and show him some love, man. Hey, it's been a great show. Let's finish out the chat, man. I'm trying to get to everybody right now. Raider P says David Shaw, former Stanford head coach, would be good on our staff. Perhaps OC, always liked him. Huh? Okay.
I mean, David Shaw's a guy I would bring in as an advisor. But you see, David Shaw's last year at Stanford, man, they were one of the worst teams in the Pac-12. So I'm not sure if he's a guy that I want to go from basically, running the college football team into the ground to now, coordinating my offense. If you want to bring him in, he's a smart guy. Bring him on as an advisor. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
My guy, hey man, I'm gonna give you some love right here. Mark Cabron with a super chat. He says, Harbaugh wins everywhere he goes. He'll build a O-line. All right, this is the biggest thing with Harbaugh with me, right? Well, two biggest thing is I want to know who his OC is. Because, hey, man, like in today's NFL, we can't go 10 steps backwards. We can't be doing the things that worked back in the day. We need to get an innovative offensive coordinator. And I get you, he does win as a head coach, but has he won as a GM? That's my question and that's what's going to come with Harbaugh. You know what Mark Davis is going to give in. He's going to give in. He's going to give the head coach. He's done it with John Gruden. He's done it with Josh McDaniels, and he's definitely going to do it. Harbaugh's going to come in like, I want roster control, GM responsibility, as well as head coaching response. And I'm not sure I want to go in that direction with the Raiders after we've seen what happened with John Gruden and obviously, Josh McDaniels. So it's like those are my two biggest things. Is that the fact that like he's going to want too much power as a coach, and I have questions about who his OC is going to be. That's kind of the big thing for me.
Yeah, we got man, at that point, if we hire Harbaugh, we're essentially going to be looking for an entirely new staff, man. It's going to be, Patrick Graham's probably going to be gone, and Hardegree is going to be gone, of course. So we might see the return of the Roman Empire.
Okay, see, this is how much I'm behind with people talking about the records. War Production says, I say 8-9, 7-10 realistic. Okay. I am optimistic, man. I'm holding out hope that we can finish this season strong.
Optimistic ain't the word, man. I need to say
Oh man. But yeah, man. Hey, man. Look. I feel like, the Raiders, there's some winnable games. It's not really a overly tough game. The hardest game is going to be against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. That's going to be the toughest game. After that, then you can probably say Denver because how well they're playing right now. Go ahead.
Are we playing in Minnesota? We playing in Minnesota?
You said, are we playing in Minnesota?
Yeah.
I think no, we're playing at home. We're
playing at home. Okay.
We're playing at home. So the only concern I have about that game is I think Josh Dobbs threw like 4 picks today, at least 4 picks against the Bears defense. But that he's not the concern I have. Is Justin Jefferson is going to come back?
Justin Jefferson going to come back?
Yeah, he's going to come back, man. He's going to come back, and we don't have anybody in that secondary that's going to match up with him. So
him or Addison. Him or Addison, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough game, man. But yeah, man. Hey, this has been a dope show, man.
For sure, man.
Yeah, man. It's been a dope show, man. Make sure to go over to my guy's Severe Raiders channel. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. Follow him all over social media, man. Make sure to do the same for me as well. PharoahNFL, like you see it on the screen, man. Any last thoughts, man, before we end the show?
The first thing I'd like to say is, just say no, Pharaoh. Just say no, brother. Yes, I said nine. said go.
Hey,
Man,
he
that's the first thing. I mean, you know, I just wanted to, I posed the question earlier. What do you want this team to be? What do you want this team to be? Are we prepared? And this is for anybody in the chat right now. You know, if you can't make it in the chat, leave it in the comment section. What do you really want this team to be? Because if we decide, because we were losing with the last guy, and if we hire, Antonio Pierce, there's going to be some growing pains there, and you're going to likely do a lot of losing there as well. So, are we willing to take 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward, or do you want to go with a more proven person? So, a lot of people are just in love with. I think people are in love with the idea of what Antonio Pierce could be, instead of what he actually is right now. And what we're going to be hiring is who he is right now. And he could eventually turn into that ideal that people have in their heads. But right now, he's a guy that can't manage timeouts and can't manage in the half situation. So, is that what you want going forward for your franchise?
Yeah, man. And I apologize, I couldn't get everybody's messages in the chat, but hey,
yeah, man, chat going crazy, man.
The chat going crazy, but make sure to leave a comment after the video, man. I respond to all the comments, and let us know, man. What do you think of this team heading into the bye week? What the record is going to be? I said, I guess I'm gonna stand by it. I did say it. I said 9-8. I said 9-8, but I thought about it. I was like, well, they got to win 4 out of 5 games. But there's some winnable games there. There's some winnable games. We'll see. And you know what's funny, though, is that Severe never answered the question. You see how smooth Severe is? He never said the Raiders' record. I asked him directly. I said, what do you think the Raiders are going to finish with? He didn't even say, he didn't answer the question.
I said we're going to win 2. I said 2 games.
Two. You said 2 games? Oh, 7-10?
2 games.
7-10. Oh, okay, 7-10.
I had us beating the Colts and the Chargers. I mean, I think Joshua Dobbs gonna run for like 150 yards against us, bro. Be completely honest with you. He's gonna run for 150 yards, and Justin Jefferson gonna probably get like 120 and like 2 tugs. Like it's gonna be. If you put Meek Robertson on Justin Jefferson, oh my god, it's gonna be a long day. Max Crosby had a game of his life. Then Danielle Hunter has been killing this year. Oh, it's gonna be a long day, man.
It's just gonna be a long day. It's just the offense that's what kind of gets me, like, because there's gonna be games where obviously the defense is gonna like have to, it's gonna be a back and forth with them because obviously don't have the talent to really stick with a lot of teams, especially if they're good offensively. Like Justin Jefferson, for example, like we don't have anybody that's gonna match up with them. But then on the other end is like, bro, we can't score more than 20 points. Like it's still a struggle. We can't run the ball for large stretches of time. Like, hey, that's gonna have to happen. But we'll see. They're gonna go into the bye week. Hopefully they make the right adjustments. It could happen. They could go for a run. They got 5 games left. 4 of them winnable games. I think the toughest game is gonna be Arrowhead. I'm never gonna say Arrowhead is an automatic win until we prove that we can win on a consistent basis. Right now, I said Patrick Mahomes is 10-1 against the Raiders, so averaging 35.5 points per game with the Chiefs. So it's like it is what it is. But yeah, man, hey, appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Go over to my guy Severe Raider, man. It's been another great show, man. Till next time, man. Peace.
Until next time. Leave them comments in the comments.
Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Thoughts for the win coming into a
Right to the edge, 30, 35, 40. Midfield, the man breaks the tackle. He's gone! 10, 5, touchdown! Raiders!
Believe that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.